Good afternoon, traders. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and it is what I was going to say Wednesday. It's not as it is not Wednesday. It is Thursday, September 9th. Happy start of the football season tonight. Just a couple hours, we got kickoff coming. So hopefully, though, that will be a little bit more exciting than today's market. Theme of the day, a lot of chop, I think, on the tape, and very representative of what we kind of see in September. Back and forth price action, a tricky tape. One of those, type of tapes where, you don't want to be super greedy, in my opinion. If you can find a couple runners like like a Moderna, like we saw today, congratulations. But it's few and far between, I think, for names that are really going to trend for the day. I think it's more of a tape that if you catch a couple quick turns in some names, you take some profits, more of a base hit, maybe a couple doubles here and there, but lesser of an extent home runs right now. Risk disclaimer in front of you. Everything that we're going through here is for information purposes only. Here is the risk disclaimer to read. If the screen, by the way, is a little bit blurry, it's just because YouTube takes a while to render the high definition version of the video. So just give it a little bit more time if the screen is really blurry. So let's go over. Some of the things that I highlighted kind of went away because I do a midday video and more strategy, and I go over all my open positions, and I go over names that I'm watching in the member midday video that comes out about 12:30 every day. But I had some things highlighted, and some of these things actually reversed a little bit. So let's go over some of those things. Well, the S&P. So if you watched yesterday's video, what was one of the things that I said about the price action that I thought that we could kind of come down to the top of value. Let me go ahead and turn on our market webs indicator. Let me just go ahead and turn on the labels so you can see the exact levels here. All right, so 44.77, and yeah, it was tricky again today because we did get a little bit of a bounce. One of the things that I try to display in the trading room is, when we do hit some resistance. So where was that resistance? Well, it's a level that I've been talking about too this week, 45.20, right? So we came back and retested that, and basically moved down. And it's a complicated month. There's a bunch of Fed speakers that are just out there to kind of make some waves here and there. So they were talking about more of the same thing that we've been now hearing for a while, that one Fed member wants to taper, the other one doesn't. We also had ECB today too, which in the morning kind of brought things up a little bit, but you could see, again, from a very technical standpoint, we ran right into that resistance, 45.20. That's why I love the market web's valuaries, because they tell me exactly where to be a little bit more conservative. Also in this tape, what I think is very important for September is not to chase. Right? Sometimes everything will start to get going, and we get a little bit more confident. We start to see things start to move higher, and a lot of times we're looking for that continuation, right? That continuation sometimes is where you get your nice profits from. But right now we just it's more of a difficult time. So a couple other things that I noted too in yesterday's tape was that this 200 period moving average. Where did we kind of fall below the 200 period moving average last time on the 1 hour? Well, that was back in the middle of the month. So we are getting close. It's the 9th of the month, so we're getting close to that middle of the month. But September is like, this is exactly kind of what to expect for September, I think. So again, I was saying in the trading room today, I'm like, well, at this point, nobody should be shocked, right, about the more difficult price action. You just, in my opinion, trading over time, there are just certain times that that you can deploy a little bit more risk, and certain times where you want to be conservative. Now, the seasonality the seasonality is the one thing, but also just in the price action too. You could see when we kind of lose this inertia, right, this momentum that we had here, it's time to either have some hedges on, have less positions on, smaller number of positions, and go from there. So where does that leave us? I'll go back to this daily chart in a second, But this 4482 level, right? That's the VPOC that I mentioned in yesterday's video. I also mentioned it on Twitter earlier today. I kind of think that this has to be taken out. Unless if we get back above 4520 and we got close today, we just didn't do it. All right, so that 4482, notice that lines up very closely, about 5 handles away from the top of value, which is 4477. So that's what I'm looking for. Of course, that's getting very precise. Could we break the 20-day moving average? We definitely could. But we've now had 4 red days, and the other saying that you hear a lot, Wall Street, is to sell sell the first Jewish holiday, Rosh Hashanah, and then buy the second one. So that seems to be playing out too. So yeah, so that's again, these are all things that should not be a shock, I think, to anyone. And it is tough, I would say, to kind of control your emotions and not forget what time of year you're in, and not forget how difficult the month of September can be trading, and that's what it is to me. A lot of times is that I make money obviously when the market is doing these types of things, and it's a little bit easier environment. What I tried to do is not give back a lot of profits when I know my system is a little bit harder. And it's not to say that I can't make money in this market. I can, but it's just a little bit easier for me when things are either not as whippy. Some people do like the real whippy. Some people who are really good day traders really can capitalize on the whippy market. So if that's you, continue to do what you're doing. Remember, there's all different types of traders out there. I'm mostly a swing trader. So when the price action is kind of like this, it's, like I said, it's a little bit of a more difficult environment for me to make money. So I try to kind of back off as much as I can. I've been mentioning in the room, like the sitting on the hands. I think I mentioned that in yesterday's video as well. So that's about 7 minutes talking about the indices. I didn't really talk too much about the other ones, but we can glance at those. The Qs have been looking better coming into today, but just looked a little bit weaker, I thought, today. And the small caps were kind of were doing well today. They did finish. Oh, look at that! IWM closed in the red. IWM at one point was up about 1%. So again, this failed right at that bottom of value too. So again, tricky, right? So I had a couple questions too, in the trading room about, hey, was there, what happened? What caused this? I'm like, guys, it's just September, right? Anything can kind of just do that. But again, I go back to the value areas gave you an exceptional area to know where you're hitting resistance and taking profits, right? That's a big deal whether or not you're profitable on days like this. Where were you adding positions? Was it yesterday into yesterday's weakness and then taking them off today in today's strength, or were you chasing into today's strength, right? Depending on which one. And again, if you're playing a little bit of both sides of the market while it gets choppy, right? I get that question a lot too. I always get traders who are looking to play both sides of the market when we're trending in the short term, right? And then, and I try to tell people, don't stick with the trend while we're trending. Right? Because sometimes we get much more overbought than we should, but that's just what the market does. And then when we start chopping around like this, if you want to play both sides of the market, that's more of a time to do it. But I always find it funny that maybe not funny. Funny is not the right word, but it's always a little bit of shaking my head when I see traders always trying to go against the grain when the market is moving up. And then when we get chopped back and forth, when it's a little bit better to be playing, to be able to play both sides of the market, then I see sometimes those people who were fading the market when the market was going up. Now I see them, on the wrong side of the market, again. So it's important the reason why I'm going over this is basically to try to help to say, make sure that you're on the right side of the market, right? Realize when we're in a choppy market, you can play a little bit, if you're quick and nimble, you can play both sides of the market. All right, so that's index review. In terms of sectors, I don't know if I covered this yesterday, but it is interesting that these solar names just cannot. I sent this tweet out yesterday about the solar names, and they are just having such a difficult time, even with all this green type spending that is going on, and sometimes like the political stuff. In terms of like what they're announcing, so forth, you're just not getting that price action, right? They even announced today too about specific money that's going to charging areas of the market, right? So your Blink, BLNK, and these charts, like if they want to rally, like these names haven't been doing anything, right? This name's was up a little bit, 2%, but didn't close on the highs. The other one too, which I think is a little bit better because they just had earnings, which I think were fairly decent, right? They actually gapped up on earnings, gave it back, and you could see up slightly for the day. So you would think a headline like that, where I sorry, I forget the figure that they're allocating towards electronic charging. And these names barely moved, so it's just odd. And you have to. It just goes back to what I say a lot of the times is you just have to respect the price action, right? An opinion would be, hey, you would think that you have Democrats in office, and we hear a lot about climate change and wanting to do things about climate change, but this is not momentum right now. Right? And what I would be looking for in the solar ETF is a move back above the 200-day moving average. I try to trade in here. I got stopped out, and I haven't really gone back to the solar names. Generac, on the other hand, this one is performing much better. It did hit a new high. So again, going with the strength, I think is continues to be where the progress is being made right now in the market. So let me get into, so now that we spent some time talking about just a couple different things that were going on, let's get into some charts for the day. So I was pretty bullish. Datadog, we saw some nice call activity yesterday. This thing was up 1%, but again, it's one of those things, if you look to see what I did today, I've been long stock now for somewhere in here. I think I got long stock, right? So I've been long stock for almost a month. And I added calls to it. It's just been one of those things too. Again, if you do trade options and do trade stock, it's been a much better name to own in stock because it's been very choppy back and forth, right? So I think I did the right thing here with owning stock rather than options. Even though it's been going the right way, it's just been kind of a slower move. So I did buy some options yesterday, and I'm quick to take them off. In my opinion, October is short-term options, right? Because we only have another week of September option expiration, and then October definitely after next week it's going to be front month, so it's going to be short-term options. So you have to be careful with your position size with those things, and you have to be kind of quick, in my opinion. If you are in those, because the time is working against you, theta decay, right? So I took another target at 870, and then I took off my last position once Datadog came in a little bit. Still profitable from yesterday, and I go back to just sitting in stock, which haven't taken any targets in that because the trend is your friend here. And I don't see any breakdown, so I'll just continue to kind of sit in stock unless we break maybe the 20-day moving average, or maybe break into value for the close. All right, not much other trading from me today. I did add a couple things. I do like the lithium names, right? ALB got a nice upgrade yesterday, but it was a tough tape, and it kind of the price really didn't do anything. Today it reacted a little bit better. However, it didn't close on the highs. I chose LTHM, but this did not break out of value. So again, tough, right? Tough when you have that type of wick. So I'll have to keep tabs on that. I do have a set stop price, but just didn't get the move higher. But like I said, I like this group, so I'm willing to give it a little bit more time. Tech Resources saw a whole bunch of calls. This was a name that I was in not a couple weeks ago. I was in last week, and I took the trade off right at this version point of control. Let's see if I can find it really quick. Yeah, yeah, just very quick trade for me. That was the last piece of the trade. But yeah, I was not in this for huge profits. Just basically here to here, and I said, I was in the mode of cutting down positions last week, and basically back to where it was, and we'll see if this can take out this, get back above here, and again have a stop on that one. So that's a couple names. Disney took some profits in swing trade that I've been in for a while. Again, didn't close on the highs either here at Disney. I did roll some calls. I was out of the November 185 calls for 950, paid 684, and rolled them to the November calls. And put on a small position in Alta, although I don't think that broke out today either. But I like this, crazy move on earnings, but it's been pushing back, pushing back, pushing back, pushing back. It does have to get above 384 or 383.50. But I do like the move into the 20-day moving average, so kind of a starter position for me right now. Other names, so I would say I mentioned this in the beginning of the video. Oh, INMD too. Nice move, but again, take a look. Would not close on the highs. I was trying to get one. I guess I did not have a target out. And then when this thing pushed back to like 141, I was like, let me see if I could take some off at 142. I didn't get there. I had a trailing stop alert, so I did take a target in here someplace. Yeah, here it is. 140, right around 140, because this thing closed up. Wow, really came in hard, down to 137. So I did take my first target in this, and this name has been just an awesome, awesome name. What else? So I mentioned Moderna. Hindsight 2020, I didn't trade this name, but really nice inside candle yesterday and a move back here, very strong, up 7.8%. This one closed very close to the highs of the day. I mentioned Datadog, sticking with the D's, DOCN. So I've been watching these names. I did add back nice candle yesterday. Didn't close on the highs, but this was a name I traded, I think, 2 weeks ago. Was very strong. DOCS is another one too that's been particularly strong. Was up 8% today. Seems like these names go back and forth. One day it's DOCN, another day it's DOCS. But nice bullish engulfing here from the previous day. What else do I have on my list? I thought the semis, some of the semis really looked good today. AMBA, small little bull flag. We'll wait for Thinkorswim to adjust out of this little consolidation and moves up, out of the consolidation. So goes with the direction of the trend. Also, another one that I saw was ADI. I think Thinkorswim is a bit slow today. This one did not break out of value, so I don't like it that much. But if you happen to catch that name, Clack is the one that I would be watching for tomorrow. That did break through the top of the value area, 344, so pretty strong there. A couple names that saw option activity. Well, we mentioned the Tech Resources saw a lot of February calls. MTTR, more of a speculative name, but a lot of calls in this one, and it did sit back right into support after taking out this VPOC. So maybe a smaller name to watch for tomorrow. So that's it. I'll leave it there. Days like this, they're, like I said, we try to keep the videos a little bit shorter because this price action could frustrate you a little bit. So bottom line is, to the takeaway from this video. If you struggle today with the price action, it's perfectly normal for September. You just kind of have to try not to get overexposed. And one of the biggest mistakes that I see younger traders make all the time is that they think that they can come in, and regardless of the circumstances, they're looking to make the same amount of money every day. It doesn't work like that. You got to respect the price action. You got to take a look at seasonality. You got to know when the wind is at your back versus in your face a little bit in terms of the price action. Just again, something that you learn over years of trading is that you're not going to be able to make the same exact money every day. It really you gotta understand the market's going to dictate that, not your ability. And what you really want to do is control how much risk that you're deploying when the market is a little bit more difficult. All right, guys, have a great night, and look forward to watching football tonight.